Good afternoon. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio Network, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. Educate, enlighten, entertain, mindfulness. And today, on this episode, we are continuing to read aloud the U.S. Constitution, and we're starting with Amendment 8, or what they call the Eighth Amendment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor accrue on unusual punishments inflicted. Ninth Amendment, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. 10th Amendment, the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or the people. 11th Amendment, the judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity, commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state, or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. 12th Amendment, the electors should meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballots the person voted for as president, and in distinct ballots the person voted for as vice president. And they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president and for all persons voted for as vice presidents, and of the number of votes for each, which lists they should sign and certify and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president. If such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no person have such majority, then from the persons having the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president. But in choosing the president, the representation from each state having one vote, a quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president, whenever the right of choice shall devolve upon them before the 4th day of March next following, then vice president shall act as president as in case of death or other constitutional disability of the president. The person having the greatest number of votes as vice president shall be the vice president. If such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed, and if no persons have a majority, then from the 2 highest numbers on the list, the Senate shall choose the vice president. A quorum for the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and a majority of the whole number shall be necessary to a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. 13th Amendment, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2, Congress should have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 14th Amendment, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which should abridge the privileges and immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. Section 2, representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to the respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed, but won the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for President and Vice President of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and judicial officers of a state, or the members of the legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age and citizens of the United States, or in any way abridged except for participation in rebellion or other crime, the basis of representation therein shall be reduced in the proportion with the number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state. Section 3, no person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector or president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. Section 4, the validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for service and suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned, but neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any obligation or debt incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave, but all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Section 5, the Congress shall have power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. 15th Amendment, Section 1, the rights of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Section 2, the Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. 16th Amendment, the Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. 17th Amendment, the Senate of the United States shall be composed of 2 senators from each state, elected by the people thereof for 6 years, and each senator shall have 1 vote. The electors in each state shall have the qualifications requisite for electors of the most numerous branch of the state legislatures. When vacancies happen in the representation of any state in the Senate, the executive authority of such state shall issue writs of election to fill such vacancies, provided that the legislature of any state may empower the executive thereof to make temporary appointments and to the people fill the vacancies by election as the legislature may direct. This amendment shall not be so construed as to affect the election or term of any senator chosen before it becomes valid as part of the Constitution. 18th Amendment, Section 1. After 1 year from the ratification of this article, the manufacture, sale, or transportation of intoxicating liquors within the importation thereof into or the exportation thereof from the United States and all territory subject to the jurisdiction thereof for beverage purposes is hereby prohibited. Section 2. The Congress and the several states shall have concurrent power to enforce the article by appropriate legislation. Section 3. This article should be inoperative unless it has been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of the several states as provided in the Constitution within 7 years from the date of the submission hereof to the states by the Congress. The 19th Amendment. The rights of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex. Remember that, ladies. 19th Amendment. You will not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. The 20th Amendment. The terms of the president and the vice president shall end at noon on the 20th day of January, and the terms of senators and representatives at noon on the 3rd day of January of the years which such terms would have ended if this article had not been ratified, and the terms of their successors shall then begin. Section 2. The Congress shall assemble at least once in every year, and such meeting shall begin at noon on the 3rd day of January, unless they shall by law appoint a different day. Section 3. If at the time fixed for the beginning of the term of the president shall elect have died, the vice president-elect shall become president. If a president shall not have been chosen before the time fixed for the beginning of his term, or if the president-elect shall have failed to qualify, then the vice president-elect shall act as president until a president should have qualified. And the Congress may by law provide for the case where neither president-elect nor vice president-elect shall have qualified, declaring who should then act as president, or the manner in which one who is act shall be selected, and such person shall act accordingly until a president or vice president should qualify. Section 4. The Congress may by law provide for the case of the death of any of the persons from whom the House of Representatives may choose a president whenever the right of choice shall have devolved upon them, and for the case of the death of any of the persons for whom the Senate may choose a vice president whenever the right of the choice shall have devolved upon them. Next Friday, we will continue with the 20th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, Section 5. If at any time you would like a transcript, you can go over to constitutioncenter.org and you can find the whole texted version of the U.S. Constitution. Thank you very much for listening to today's episode, Amendment 18 through Amendment 20th. And we hope that you will join us again to continue hearing about the U.S. Constitution. This program is brought to you by Conscious Research Solutions, and you can find more information about us on passionateworldtalkradio.com/research made simple blog, where it answers all your question about the pain associated with either hiring somebody or doing research yourself. Please go to passionateworldtalkradio.com/epic Envision XR. You can buy it either by chapter or the whole total of 10 chapters. More will be added along with videos and audios. And once you make your selection, also consider learning how to write satire in fiction or nonfiction. Satire is when you poke fun at yourself or at other people to make a point, that you make them laugh at the same time. And again, you can do it in a class or a one-by-one, and then you should be able to hit a link that will take you into passionateworldtalkradio.com/epic truths, where you can pay to PayPal or Stripe by credit card or by the QR code. Check them all out. And also please make a donation if you want to continue to hear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as originally reported in MSN, the Washington Post, the BBC, Fox News, Kiplinger Report. PassionatWorldTalkRadio.com/donation. This is a woman-owned and woman-operated internet talk radio station, PassionatWorldTalkRadio.com. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in another week.